Grand Rises, good folks. I pray you well. Hopefully, everybody is doing them in the most bona fide way that they know how. So, I'm on social media and, I get to scrolling a little bit, right? One of the common threads that I have seen very often, really for a while, but then as of late, like over the last week or so, one of the common threads is people talking about relationships and how they have changed, and how there was like this group of people, how they've had, a group of friends, or how the relationship and the dynamics have changed with some of the people that they are used to being in connection, relationship, friendship, family, whatever, what have you, and how they have changed. And my thing is like, I've said even over the summer, I believe I made some uploads and I shared it even in some of the shorts that I've shared. How they talk about the great separation, and they say, well, separation is an illusion and all that. Yeah, on a metaphysical level, and we get it. But when we talk about having one foot on the ground, and we're talking about, certain things that we have to deal with, the tangible things, and things that we have to deal with that are like urgent and like right now, things that are like up in your face, right? Besides the spiritual part, everything is spiritual, but more so of the physical part, and the physical connections, the relationships and things, and how those things change. I was talking about the great separation, and everybody, people that are spiritually tapped in, people that, are, subscribed to astrology, or the times, and the age of Aquarius, and the planetary shifts, and the shifts and changes, energies, and all of the above, the things that are happening on earth and things, right? We talk about the great separation, right? So in the great separation, there is a lot of things that are going to fall away. There's a lot of relationships that are going to change, and there's a lot of dynamics that are going to change, and people that you will no longer resonate with, or no longer resonate with in certain ways, or the dynamic or the relationship will change. You probably won't be as as close, or whatever, but on top of that, there's some other things that to be considered. Like, for example, if you want to find out who really is for you, who is healthy for you, who has your best interests at heart, and who is aligned with your values, goals, standards, principles, your mission, your desires, your goals, change your life, change your mind, change your lifestyle, and then you'll find out who's really good for you, and who really has your best interests at heart, and who's in alignment and on the same page as you. Start to eat better, start to work out, change your spirituality for the best. Start to do things that are not considered low vibrational, or get rid of the toxic lifestyle. Change your life for the better. Elevate, level up, right? Just grow exponentially. Grow, you're progressing, you're doing good and great things. There's always that opposing frequency, and I talked about that earlier at the beginning of summer. I'm assuming it was approximately about I want to say it was at the beginning of summer. You level up your life, you begin to level up, and then you'll find that opposing frequency, and then you'll also find the temptations that start to happen, the temptations that you are presented with. But then also you will see how the relationship dynamics changing, and that's where, the great separation comes in, right? It's happening consistently. But if you start to speak truth, and you start to honor yourself, and you start to be loyal to yourself, which is something that should be a non-negotiable and a priority for many of us, because how can you be loyal or real with anyone else if you're not being loyal or real with yourself? Because at the end of the day, you have to look in that mirror, and you can't lie to your reflection. I mean, at least you shouldn't, and if you do, then that's another level of mental illness, in my opinion. Or when you go lay your head on that pillow at night, you know what I mean? So, being real honest and authentic with oneself, being loyal to oneself, and then ultimately being able to express and project that in how you communicate and how you relate to other people in your relationships and things. But then as you're doing that, and you become, loyal to yourself and valuing yourself and honoring yourself, loving and respecting yourself, that begins to outwardly project in the world how you're moving in the world, your relationships, your connections, how you're relating to other human beings, how we're relating to one another. But then also, one of the things that we also have to remember, that you want to find out who is in opposition to you, who secretly despises you, dislikes you, hates you, or is on an opposing frequency. Start to speak your truth. Start to speak a truth, or start to express yourself. Stand in your power. Stand in your power and use your vocal expression to express yourself, which is freedom and liberation of the soul. Do that, and then you'll find out who your enemy is. People are trying to figure out, they're trying to pray to the Most High, and they're trying to talk to other people, and they're trying to find out who is opposing them, who their enemies are, who is a secret hater, who is in opposition to them. And that can be on many different levels, whether that be in business, whether that be in your personal relationships, your family, whether it be platonic or romantic. It's not that hard. You want to find out who is opposing you, who is on a hater or adversarial or opposing frequency. All you got to do is just be yourself. Fake people that put on a facade, or people that really don't rock with you 100%, whether there is just the slightest of an opposing frequency. Fake does not honor real. Fake does not like real and authentic and genuine. And sometimes when we love people and when we're in connection with people, that unconditional love, we're in acceptance, and a part of our soul and our spirit wants to agree with them, and even the flaws and all. That's what unconditional love is. So you love one unconditionally, flaws and all, and you accept them for their flaws and all. Like in romantic relationships and marriages, oh, she loved his dirty draws, vice versa. It's just all loving unconditionally. But when there is an opposing frequency, or someone that genuinely does not like you or does not love you, or you want to know who your enemy is, who is your adversary, where is that opposing frequency coming from, and people are actually living in the same household with some of those people, just start to honor yourself. Start to speak your truth. Start to express your soul in its most authentic way, in its most freeing, liberating way. And then while you're doing that, start to encourage and project that outwardly, to speak power, life, and motivation and inspiration into your fellow man, woman, into your community, and to others. And then when you see the energy shift, and you see how people shift, and you start to see how people start to share and project negative projections, and they start to outwardly, blatantly say negative things, or the people that they start to disrespect, right? When a person is in a righteous frequency and they have good intentions, but they are projecting themselves in a way that is authentic to themselves and speaking their truth. When those people who are not faulty, when they start to receive, or when you start to receive certain weird energies and negative, just negative energies and things that start happening and start coming your way. If you're spiritual, you probably are like me, where you really don't believe in coincidences, but people are experiencing these changes in their lives, relationships, and dynamics, and different things that they are experiencing on a day-to-day basis. And you praying and you asking why. And I understand, because sometimes it takes experiences for you to bump your head, for you to learn things, and then you build your wisdom and you build your discernment. I mean, life is a lifelong school, so we're always learning. So I can acknowledge that. But as you're learning, and then as I always say, when you know, right? Just seeing things really for what it is. A lot of times we're asking and we're praying to the Most High, or our spirit guides, whatever you subscribe to, the ancestors, these different unseen forces. And the answer is already in you. It's not hard. Sometimes there's cognitive dissonance, or sometimes we're just, wanting something to be something that it's not. Sometimes it's hard to call a spade, right? And sometimes we just don't want to let certain things go. So, there's a lot of changes that's taking place in things, but again, it's a part of the great separation. And as you're leveling up and as you are doing good in your life and you're reaching your goals and you continue to stay on path and you continue to remain in alignment for your divine assignment, and wherever things are crooked, wherever things need to be made straight, or wherever you fall short or whatever, you just, forgiving yourself, but communicating with spirit and getting back in alignment, right? But I just want to encourage and inspire and speak power to those who are expressing themselves in certain ways and are experiencing certain challenges and certain things because of their evolution, because of their progress, because of their growth, and because of the positive righteous changes that they have made. I pray you well, and I pray that you stay grounded and stay focused. Ashe.